Well, hello there. My name is Vladimir. Welcome to my home studio. Today we are doing something that's been requested from me quite a lot. Actually, we are comparing the Mooer Radar to NUX Solid Studio. Let's not make a boring video where we compare a couple of presets on both of the pedals and then we just rage in the comments telling each other how one of the pedals sounds awesome and the other one sucks. No, we are going to go all in. I mean all in, because we'll start with the packaging. The Mooer Radar comes in a ridiculously oversized box compared to the pedal itself. Made me laugh, so points for that one. Inside you find a really boring looking manual. It does what the manual is supposed to do. It actually teaches you how to use the pedal, and there's different ways of connecting it and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a manual. You don't really kind of care about it in the sense that it looks boring, but it does what it's supposed to do. That's fine. Over here would be a power supply, which right now is actually plugged into the pedal itself. The Mooer Radar is powered by 12 volts, and for many people that would be an issue, so it actually ships with its own power supply. I like that. Then there's this small standard size box, so if you ever bought a Mooer pedal, you're familiar with this little box. Most of their pedals are actually sold in boxes like this. So yeah, nothing too fancy, nothing too special. It's a white box, and that's about it. The Solid Studio takes a completely different approach. The box itself looks really premium. There's something like Apple-ish in the way they want to present their products. The box is incredibly difficult to open for the first time. Inside you would find the pedal itself, obviously. There's a nice padding over here. It smells like all the new cool products do, whatever that means. And it has a really nice printed manual, which again explains everything you need to do. It's in color. And after checking this out, you know pretty much everything about the pedal. The manual on the Mooer Radar does the same thing. You will learn how to use the pedal, but this is just a really nice touch compared to the Radar. The NUX Solid Studio doesn't ship with any kind of power supply, but unlike the Mooer Radar, it uses the standard 9 volt, so that shouldn't be an issue. Neither of the pedals ship with a micro USB cable, and I think they should ship with a micro USB cable, because for whatever reason, out of the 4 micro USB cables I have lying around from various products I've gotten over the years, 2 of them didn't work with either of the pedals. I have no idea why, but that's the case. I think both of the pedals should ship with a micro USB cable that you know will work with that pedal. Then we jump into the pedal format itself. As you can see, you can fit about 2 to 3 Mooer Radars into one NUX Solid Studio, so the footprint of the Solid Studio is much bigger. Both of the pedals feel nice and solid. I guess this is a kind of demo unit because the screen on the Mooer Radar is already really scratched and it feels super plasticky. The knob over here feels nice. It feels it can take quite a lot of use before it will break. Same applies to the Solid Studio. I mentioned this in my demo. All the knobs feel super solid. Yes, that's a pun, yay. Both of the pedals feel pretty well built, but I will give a point for the build quality to Solid Studio. It just feels really premium. All the finishing on the pedal itself and all of that just feel really good, and it makes you feel like you're getting a premium product. The Mooer Radar is better than many other Mooer or other cheap pedals I've tried, but it still kind of has this affordable feel. The Mooer Radar has an input, it has an output, it has a headphones out, there's a USB and a power connection. Connectivity wise, the Solid Studio is a completely different thing. There's an input, there's a kind of minus 10 dB, 4 plus 4 dB switch, there's a line/speaker switch, there's a through connection which allows you to run signal through the pedal and bypass everything that's happening over here. Then there's a cabinet simulated output, or whatever happens in the pedal, that's the output over there. You can also plug in your headphones into that. There's a USB, there's a power plug, and over here there's also a DI out. On the front panel, the Mooer Radar has a single knob, and I really like how they've used the whole interface. You get familiar with it pretty quickly, and then you'll learn to browse all these fun things. Basically, you operate the whole pedal by rotating the switch, and then clicking it and saving and so on. On the NUX Studio, everything happens on the front panel pretty much, besides the line level switch over there. You can turn the cap and power amp simulation on and off. You can change the microphones, power amp tubes, you can change the microphone position, microphones, you can drive the power amp, and you can adjust the presence as well. On the Mooer radar, there's a bunch of options hidden behind all the menus. You can again adjust the power amp section. There's actually more power amp tube options available than on the Solid Studio. Then you can also adjust the cabinet. You can move the microphone on or off the kind of speaker center, or like you can move it from the center of the cone to the edge. And there's also distance control, so you can kind of bring the microphone back from the speaker as well. Then there's an EQ section that you can operate as well if you want to, and this is basically a, let me count, five band graphic EQ, plus you can also apply a high pass and low pass filters as well, so it really allows you to fine tune your sound. I find both of the pedals pretty easy to operate, even though the menus can get quite kind of deep in the Mooer radar, and it's pretty easy to get lost in everything that you can do with it. On the other hand, if you are the kind of person who likes to tweak the sound to the slightest of details, it's there, so that's really cool, especially when you consider the format of the pedal. It's pretty cool what they've managed to do with that. Something that should also be talked about with especially pedals like this is the fact that both of the pedals get software updates, and how the company handles them is really important in your overall use experience. The Mooer website is pretty simple. There's nothing really going on. There's some features, then there's the link to download the latest firmware, and really brief instructions of how to operate that, and that's it. Nothing else over here, and yeah, that's about it. On the NUX Studio website, there's everything that's in the manual as well. They tell you all the cabinets, they tell you all the microphones they use in the pedal. They actually explain by naming each of the cabinets and microphones by name. I like that a lot because you'll actually know what they're using. Then they explain all the output and input options, and also they show you all the different ways you can run the pedal. This is something that is in both of the Solid Studio and Mooer radar manual, but I think it's really cool that you can actually see this stuff on the website as well, especially if you are, I don't know, in a studio situation and you for some reason don't have your manual with you, because I mean usually everyone carries the pedal manuals with them, right? Good joke. Also, there's a lot of explanation of the impulse response technology they have, and also how to capture your own impulse response, which Solid Studio allows you to do. And when we scroll back, there's also a support section where you can download the manual, you can download the guide how to capture your own impulse response, and you can also download the Mac or Windows app and the software update for the pedal. Both of the pedals come with a software that allows you to import your own impulse responses and also tweak the presets on the pedal as well. With the NUX Solid Studio, I like the fact that everything you do on the pedal, you can also see is happening on the screen. You can see the master volume moving in the power amp drive, the different microphones and all of that. I like that it also shows you the EQ curve that changes when you switch to a different kind of when you switch to a different microphone. On the Mooer radar, also stuff happens when you adjust the pedal. Weird enough, while I'm at the rectifier cabinet, it for some reason shows me the Champer 1x8 cabinet. But if I go to EQ, you can see that it switches on the pedal as well. If I go to power amp, it switches to power amp setting as well. But what's happening on the Mooer radar itself, the screen, it doesn't kind of reflect over here for whatever reason. Let's see if I decide to adjust the presence just a bit. Look, it updates over after that, but before that it doesn't. Not sure why. It's kind of shame, because it would be fun to be able to kind of adjust the things on the fly, but yeah. So let's compare a couple of presets and I'm putting presets in quotation marks because there aren't really kind of presets on the Solid Studio. But basically both of the pedals host the twin reverb 2x12. I've checked on the radar that we are using the 6v6 power amp tubes, and both are mic'd with dynamic 421, and the microphone is placed in the center. And just to quickly run you through the signal chain, from the guitar signal goes to the Caline Pure Sky Overdrive. Later we'll check out some heavier sounds with the Rev G3. And from the Rev G3, the signal goes to the NUX Solid Studio. And I'm using the through connection, which basically bypasses the pedal. And from there, the signal goes to the Mooer radar. So we are recording both of these at the same time. And neither of the kind of stuff happening inside of the pedal should affect the other one. So yeah, let's check out how this cabinet sounds. The next cabinet we're checking out is the AC30. The Mooer radar actually has two different presets. I think the other one is with Alnico Blues. This one sounded closer to what's going on the Solid Studio as well. And again, I'm just going through presets. There's infinite amount of things I could tune on the Mooer radar, but that's not the idea. It's the presets. Let's give it a listen. The last preset cabinet we're going to check out is the Marshall 4x12 with greenbacks. There's the same cabinet on both of the pedals. I checked that this is the one with the greenbacks because the Mooer radar has several kind of Marshall type cabinet presets. Both are mic'd with dynamic 421 and they sound like this. And the last thing we're going to check out is obviously uploading your own impulse response into the pedal. I switched to Rev G3. Both of the pedals host the own hammer Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabinet. It's exactly the same impulse response. It's the same kilohertz and everything. I've turned the graphic EQ on the Mooer radar and I selected the guitar preset because otherwise it would sound absolutely way too muddy for anything good sounding. So yeah, same cabinet, impulse response, basically should be same microphone, all of that. I'm adjusting slightly the presence on the power amp simulation on the NUX Solid Studio. The Mooer radar power amp is also EL34s, and again there's a graphic EQ because without that the sound is basically unusable. Let's hear how it sounds. And that wraps up the comparison of the Mooer Radar and the NUX Solid Studio. To be honest, I like a lot of parts of both of the pedals. The Mooer Radar definitely lets you go in more depth with all the tweaking. On the other hand, I really like the ability to adjust everything on the front panel without a need to go into a single menu. Preset cabinet wise, the Solid Studio kicks Mooer Radar's butt like 100 to 0. It's absolutely ridiculous what kind of difference there is. Maybe there's some weird mistake I've made with the Mooer Radar and I accidentally made it sound so much worse than the Solid Studio, but this isn't the first time I'm using the Mooer Radar. If you check out my NUX-tuotteet live versus the Mooer Radar comparison video, it's a really weird comparison. You'll get the idea once you watch the video. That's my wife cooking, by the way. So basically there's something about the presets they provide that like I really don't like. Everything feels muddy, unorganic. The power amp simulation in the Mooer Radar is something I don't like. It feels really digital to play. The sound in the Solid Studio, especially with the preset caps, is so much more open and dynamic, and it's not that far away from playing an actual amp. I can say the same about the Mooer Radar. On the other hand, the size of the Mooer Radar is just absolutely awesome, and you can kind of always have it with you as your backup solution if your amp fails, or even your main solution, because once you upload your own impulse response into it, it actually does sound good. There's still some weird differences between the sounds. I think it's probably the power amp simulation. Again, I think the power amp simulation on the NUX Solid Studio is the best one I've tried out of all of these pedals. I actually even prefer it more than the one on the NUX-tuotteet Live I have over here. So that wraps up the comparison requested by many. Both pedals are good. They are slightly different approaches to the same problem or solution, however you want to call it. Let me know down below in the comments which you like more and in what situations you would use either of these pedals. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. There's a subscribe button somewhere on the screen. Hit that and the notification bell as well so you won't miss any of my videos when they come out. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. I shall see you next time.